Good afternoon. Today is June the 28th, 2020. This is the Service Hero Show, 365 Days of Awesome. Celebrate success through service. My name is Tamara Hunter, and get ready, here we go. Good afternoon. We have our service hero today. Now, let me tell you, I love it when we have one that has been nominated. And today's service hero has been nominated by another service hero. Trey, you guys will remember him. Trey Carmichael. Trey is just a young guy that's got his act together, and he nominated Logan. So when I heard who it was that nominated, it was like, okay, yes, I want to have Logan on. I just needed to figure it out. And where did he go? There he is. That you, Logan, are a service hero, and you have such an interesting story. We're having some problems. Hopefully, we're going to get this taken care of. Please let me know, guys, if you can see if you can see me, if you can see Logan, if you can hear us. I'm doing a tech check right now because I cannot see Logan. And if you can, then I will not drop him from the line. I cannot see him. Logan, can you hear me? Can you see me?
I can, yeah.
Okay, I cannot see you, but I can hear you. Well, I'm going to keep going, and we're doing a tech check right now. Logan is a gentleman that is remarkable, and he has something to share with everybody that I think is going to be very interesting and exciting. I want to know how to do this. He is a gentleman that had an app that he wanted built and realized that there were not that many really solid people out there able to do what he needed to do. And so he decided there was a business opportunity. He has now created a business, and he has quite a few employees. Now let me see. I can see and hear you.
Right.
I can hear him. Okay. I am going, thank you, Skip. I'm going to go ahead and drop you from the line. I'm going to actually ask you to come back in. Okay, Logan?
Yeah, sure. No problem.
Okay, thank you. All right. So, as I tell you the story of Logan, he is going to be coming back in. Logan is a gentleman that has a heart, is a fair employer, and that means a lot to me, coming from the world that I worked in for many, many years, nearly 2 decades. When you find someone that's like this person, they're a service hero just for what it is and how they run their business. However, there's much more to his story, and we're going to be talking about that in a few moments. Let's see if we made this one work. Let's see here. We're bringing him up to the line. Uh-oh. I saw you when you were down below the line. However, we're having problems with your camera, Logan.
Here, let me see. I'll switch it back to the default. Let's see if that works.
Okay, let's see if that works. Yes, much better. Okay, and I want to, as this is a participatory show, we have quite a few people that have shown up. I want to recognize them real quickly, and then we're going to continue going on with the story. We have Helene Wilson, and you know, Logan, I don't know that you know, I have a nonprofit that I run, and many of the people that come and watch our show are those that are a part of our community. So you're going to see a lot of the community talk here. It's a lot of fun. They're a great group. And so one of our ambassadors of the chat, one of my buddies, Helene Wilson, welcome. Great that you're here with us. We have one of our board members. Thanks. Here comes the sun. I love that image there on your picture of the profile. Skip Thomas, thank you for being here. Cinnamon, always wonderful to have you with us. Great to see you guys. You know, it's a nice, beautiful Sunday. I think we've pretty much covered it for right now. I want to get into, Logan, as I was sharing, as we were working on the tech issues,
Uh-huh.
You are a gentleman that had an app that you wanted built. You are a conscientious person. I can tell that just right off the bat. You get this going, and then you realize there are other entrepreneurs that need what you needed, and there possibly is a struggle out there to find people that have the quality, and if you will, the business ethics that many people are looking for in this world, and are sometimes hard to find. Because, and I threw that in just because I've known some stories. Let's just put it that way. With some people, personal, some of my personal friends, and when I was looking at doing our nonprofit and including app in it, I actually got. I have to say, I got a little bit of a jaundiced eye going and looking at opportunities, because I was worried, truthfully,
Right.
and when Trey, who I'm very impressed with, was nominated by Andrea, I know her very well. This, there you go, the domino effect. And here it is, you have an app company that you develop apps. And this is when I knew you were one of the service heroes. When you mentioned, guys, he's got the ability, he knows how to help people to learn to read a book in a day. Read a book in a day. And this is not even something he does for any kind of fee. This is a good guy. And he has his employees continue reading and increasing their abilities, and they do it on company time. That right there. Okay, mic drop. There. We've done, service hero. Ah! Okay, so let's go into it. What kind of app did you want built? Or, I'm just curious, what kind of app was it originally?
Yeah, so it was in 2014, and I was a youth pastor at the time and an assistant pastor, and I wanted to do a prayer app.
Okay.
So I was a youth pastor and I had no money, so I fundraised it through Indiegogo, kind of like Kickstarter, if you've ever heard of that. I crowdfunded it, and I raised enough. It was really hard to raise the money, but I raised enough to get the beta built, and through that process, I saw how disjointed and difficult the process was, and I was like, "There's a great place in the market to start a company that does this."
Again, service hero. I mean, okay, so you totally get it. You get it. Being there, youth pastor is going to be coming from a 501c3 kind of a place. It is, a nonprofit, a religious organization. It's, slightly different, but still the same. And so, there's different rules even in how you have to fundraise, all those different things that you're dealing with. And you're, like you said, it wasn't easy. It's not. And then here you have what you think you need to get that beta going. And then, that had to have been, here you're trying to do something so good for so many. And it had to have been, and I love the way you framed that, it was an opportunity in the market. However, when you realized the opportunity, it had to have been a bit frustrating, if not disappointing, in the beginning.
I don't know that I was that thoughtful about it.
Okay.
But I was also looking to move into business.
Okay.
And so it made sense to me. I liked a lot about it. Every project is different. There's a lot of creativity. It's high ticket, which is a different type of sales. It's a different kind of customer, different kind of just growth curve, all kinds of stuff that I liked about the business model.
I love it. Okay. This shows your character right there. Right there it shows. Okay. So you're not looking for in any which way, the dark cloud, you're looking at the sunshine. You're saying, okay, here's opportunity. I wanted a business opportunity as it is. It kind of just, there you go. This one's a smart one.
part of it is being young in business and just young. But yes, it is kind of my predisposition already. But if I had known how difficult it was probably not the best choice for a first business, because it is so complex to get apps together. You know, it's like 5 or 6 people takes to build them. There was a lot of problems that I had in the first 2 years with hiring, with getting projects done, all of that. But, you know, the road was like kind of blessed along the way. So it wasn't because of my skill. But now we have a really good operation going, and we get stuff done, and we get it done well.
I was going to ask, okay, so you're a youth pastor, and now you've gone into app building. Do you have the education? Are you self-trained? Did you go back to school? How did that work?
Well, I don't code or design anything. I just run the business, whatever that means, right? So no, I have no training. Although now at this point, 5 years later, I definitely know a lot because of the nature of what we do and have done. But no, you know, I went out and I took my vacation week. And I printed out like these horrible half sheet flyers because I knew I wanted to go into business, but I didn't have enough money to go into business. So I needed to sell some stuff before I left ministry. And so I printed out these horrible half sheet flyers on a family member's printer because I couldn't even afford my own printer. And I went door to door during my vacation week to businesses, and I sold an app or a couple apps, and I took that money to start the company. Like, I didn't even have the staff to build the apps when I sold the first ones. I sold them, and then I figured out the rest after.
And I will say this, and I didn't get it for the longest time, but in this business community and business in these days, you know, 2020, and we're talking about June 28th, 2020. That's how I'm starting these shows now, you know, and yes, we're in the middle of a lot of shift and changes right now. And I do hear from business people that is not an uncommon model, because you need to know that you're not spending your time, especially right now where so many people are pivoting, they're flipping, they're changing. They're like, okay, I used to have this kind of business. Now things have changed, social distancing, this or that. And there is a different need that I can possibly take care of. But you need to know that people are going to want to buy. People are going to want to work with you, because you can spend all this time and money and energy and have no clients. And so it's that whole, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? And you need to feel very, very, very confident that you can take care of it. And obviously you did, and obviously you have, because you're 5 years later. And how many employees did you say you have?
We have about 25 people on staff right now.
25. Yeah. Wow. Now, let me ask you this. Okay, so you have 25 on staff. Are your 25 on staff in one location, or is this one that they can work remotely?
Everyone's remote. I'd say close to 90% are overseas in 5 different countries, and then the other 10% would be US based.
Okay. All right. There you go. Well, see, this is another really great way of being able to share what someone out there is doing, a model that is working. How has it been for you with this different climate that's taken place in the last few months? Have you seen a change in business? Has it remained leveled off? Has it increased? What have you seen?
We're still growing right now. There's like when did it hit us, or when did everybody say it hit us? Like around March-ish,
Right.
Yeah. March. And then there was 6 weeks and we've been growing, like doubling every year, but there was like 6 weeks with 0 leads. And I was like, oh my goodness. But fortunately, we had done so well in the first quarter where we could have had no more sales and we still would have been 60% up on the previous year. So I wasn't worried about survival. I was just more worried about losing the momentum that felt so good. But the momentum picked back up after that like 6-week period. And now we're getting a ton of business, and we'll be way up on last year.
Congratulations, first of all. Congratulations. Because to be in the niche that you're in, you really need to perform. You need to perform, and you need to perform well, or you're going to end up with a very horrible reputation. And to have the kind of growth that you're having, it's not surprising because of the fact that you must be doing something right. And having been nominated for Service Heroes, which now I'm getting this completely in that you are a gentleman that is running a business in an area where you're doing it with integrity and service to your employees as well as to those that you're servicing as clients. And the reason I'm saying this is when you have an opportunity to share, and the fact that your employees are in so many different countries, they're working remote, and you encourage them to be learning during that period of time, and you don't expect them to be learning on their own time, as you said, on their own dime. You're willing to front that. That means you've got the kind of culture going on that they trust you, you trust them, and then the clients are trusting the end product. That right there is ran by the top. That kind of culture, it is a unique culture, and it's one that I believe a lot of people, if they were to get the book, How Does Logan Fields Do It? Then if they were to follow that book and read it in a day, but then keep reading it for a year every day, I bet you anything, we'd have a lot of businesses that had growth in the employees and in the business model. Now, can I
tell you a little bit about how we do some stuff in our
I would love to, because I was just about to ask that. In fact, I was going to ask if that's how you were sharing it, even through your podcasting, or yeah, I would love to hear how you are doing that.
Yeah, so like I said, 90% of our staff is overseas. And that allows us to scale service projects, a number of reasons we do that. Obviously, it is cheaper for the overseas talent that we're hiring, but we do also have US-based people. But there are a few things that happen. One, I don't require the reading unless, well, if you're in one of the top like 3 positions, you have to. It is required. But past that, full-time staff can opt into the program, and we will pay for them to have a Kindle, because shipping the books overseas is just too difficult. So, but we'll ship a Kindle, which take 1 to 5 weeks depending on where they are, and then we will send the books, and they can opt in. They don't have to. There's not a ton of pressure to. But if they choose to, then they can read it on company time. And yeah, just encouraging people to grow personally is really important, and taking care of people. So for example, what I'll do when we're hiring someone, Nigeria, Philippines, India, whatever, we will research what the median income is for that area so that we understand. Because I'm a good deal maker, and so is my staff, and we could maybe get somebody because we're a a company that people want to work with and people want it on their resume and stuff, I could maybe get someone for so cheap that it would actually hurt them. But I don't want that. So we try to do the work to understand, okay, what is the median income? And then we actually ask people really directly, hey, how much do you need to survive? How much to be comfortable? How much to be really comfortable? How much to be like doing amazing? And I try to get some reference points, and we start them at the comfort level. Obviously, they're starting positions, and then you can go up from there. And if it's below that, then we're not going to hire them because it's not going to be a good situation.
Thank you for explaining that. And, you know, I hope that a lot of people that are either in business right now are considering having some type of a business, and especially if they're considering something where you're working with multiple different countries, of which I am talking with a lot of different international service heroes recently in regards to different types of programs that are out there to encourage learning, entrepreneurship. And, you know, we do have a worldwide business. I mean, really, it is a worldwide environment. I want to say employment environment, but it's even more than that. It's we are a worldwide family, community, whatever you want to say, because with having the internet, with having the kind of connections that we have, it's like so many of the different people that have realized, okay, if you have these employees, they may be here, they may have to work through the night. However, it's going to work for them because of that. And the fact that you're looking at a fair wage, you're looking at what is the growth potential, what is it that this person really has going on? Is it a good match? Is it a good match for the culture? If they're willing to increase in their abilities, you're going to also know that, because you're going to help them with the ability for them to increase as an individual also, and encourage the learning through the Kindle and supplying the equipment that they need. That's commendable. That is truly commendable. So what are the countries that you're working in? You said India, Philippines.
Yeah. All right. So let's see if I can remember them all. India, the Philippines, Nigeria, obviously the U.S., and Pakistan.
Pakistan. Okay. I know people in many of those countries, and so thank you for that too, and thank you the fact that you're being open and honest about it, because how do you feel? I'm curious. This is an interesting question for me. I hope that others are going to find it interesting, but how do you feel as an employer where you have international staff? 10% is here in your home country, 90% is outside of your home country. Do you ever get any kind of why or pushback or anything, or do people understand?
When I was cheaper, I ran into more issues, more skepticism. Being more expensive now, and like, to give you a reference point, a small app with us would be 20,000 to 30,000. A medium app would be 30 to 50, and then it can go well over six figures. When we were cheaper, I did have more skepticism from American clients. Being more expensive, the business people that I connect with, no, they don't care. And who knows, maybe that's because of how long we've been around, and we know what we're doing now. I'm not sure. Also, I think people are just more and more conditioned to understand the global economy. And the fact is, what's the worst that could happen? I mean, if we did something on a contract, my US-based company would get sued.
Right.
So they still have legal recourse because we're not in India.
Right. Absolutely. And so actually, and thank you for explaining that too, because it really is sharing that there is legal recourse, like you had shared, and that protection for those that it may mean something here in the United States, do you have clients that are having you build apps for them outside of the United States?
Not yet. We're quoting on a couple from the UK.
Okay.
Or New Zealand or Australia or all of those.
It's coming.
I guess we have a couple in, I think, New Zealand and Australia, but almost all of them are US.
Uh-huh. All right. So this book a day, let's go there, because, this is where I have a feeling there's a lot of people that are going to be like, wow, you're giving that opportunity for free. I can learn how to do that. And you said it's a strategy, or there's a certain type of a way that if you really want to learn a book a day, it can be done if you know what to do. I still am a bit, my mother was a speed reader. I will say she was a speed reader, and she was able to crunch a book. Yeah. And I would say probably in a day, yes, but she was also bedbound, and she didn't have any other, maybe some TV or something else, but there was, that was her day. You've got employees, and they're, and there's still a way to read a book in a day. Give us an idea of how that works.
Yeah. So, and it, like I told you before the show, so I own the app guys, and software and apps is the only thing I sell, but I do have a couple courses that are free on my app. So if you type Logan Fields in Google Play or the App Store, you'll see my app. Okay. And it's free. And one of the courses in there is how to read a book a day, which I want to say it's less than 30 minutes long altogether. It is not as hard as it sounds, but let me just, because it does take 30 minutes to explain, I'll let people watch the course, but I'll explain some of the philosophy behind it. Okay. So first of all, I used to be a slightly slow reader, mainly because I was distracted, not necessarily for any other reason. But so it would take me a while to get through a book, but I cared, and I'd try to read like 3 books at once and stuff like that. And one day I just decided to read a book a day, and it just clicked. It just clicked. And through some trial and error, I mean, I did it right away, but through some trial and error, I kind of perfected the process. So this is not for like fictions. So I do read fiction at night when I'm going to bed for 5 to 30 minutes, just depending. But it's not for that kind of thing. It's for like self-development and business books, those kind of books, not memoirs or biographies either. They're not stories. But if you look at especially modern self-development and business books, well, first of all, a big, really important thing to understand is the 80-20 rule. The 80-20 rule says essentially that 20% of a thing is the most valuable. It yields like 80% of the value out of whatever that thing is. You can apply it to almost anything. 20% of the church members in a church do 80% of the giving. 20% of the people in the U.S. do 80%, pay 80% of the taxes. Like it just goes on and on and on. And it's the same for content. Even from the best authors in the world, 20% of their book is the actual take-home, life-changing stuff. 80% of the book isn't. Right. So that's really the guiding principle is when I read a book, I'm not addicted to this just dumb rule that you got to read every word for it to count. Because guess what? We're not in 2nd grade anymore. We're adults who are actually just trying to learn. That's the only goal. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to sign a paper saying you read the whole book. Right. Right. Okay. Right. Yeah, it's to get the top stuff out. So you got to throw that away. You got to throw the schoolyard thinking of every word away. It's not a special accomplishment to read stuff that is not that important. So you're trying to go through what are the big daddy things. By the way, that's probably going to change each time. So if I read John Maxwell's 21 Laws of Leadership, which that's one of the top 1% books ever, honestly, like that's one of the best. So the 20/80 rule maybe gets skewed like in a case like that. But nonetheless, the 20% that I take away this week from that book is probably going to be different than the 20% I take away next week, just because of what's going on in my mind. I'm thinking.
Right. Go ahead. I
was going to say another important principle is just understanding the power of the mind. The mind is just doing work in the background all the time. And that's why when you go on a run or you're in the shower or you're on a drive, you'll go, oh, and you have these aha moments. It's because your brain was working on it for days or years in the background, and you gave it space for it to all come together. So when you read a book and you're getting that top 20% out, just take an hour, read the entire book, get the 20%. And my course shows exactly how to do that with no pressure. It doesn't matter if somebody thinks you're not comprehending it or whatever. You don't need to answer someone's quiz. Just upload it to your brain and with no pressure and let it run in the back and watch what the compound interest does after you do that for like 100 books. I mean, less than that. But after 100 books, you're going to go, whoa.
You've got some quotes, lots of quotes, and I was like, okay, I love your quotes, and so I was like, where do you get these? Are they from all the books? Some of them are, some of them it's whatever you're in that place, and it's kind of like what you're saying. It's like in anything in life, and truth is when you're ready for something, that information's going to, it will be absorbed. And yes, you can watch a movie. Each time you watch it, you'll see something different. You can read a book, you can listen to a song, whatever it may be. And I love these. I just grabbed a few of them. And grow so fast, your old friends have to get to know you again. I mean, there you go. If you're constantly upgrading, and that, I love the machine going on in the back of your mind, and that aha. I mean, I learned something from you right now, because I was like, oh, that makes sense. So thank you. And when you dream big, your problems become small. I grabbed that because, and I'm going to bring up a few more. To understand the heart and mind of a person, look not at what he has already achieved, but what he aspires to do. And right now, we need these quotes. Yes, we need these feel-good kind of moments. Yes. And then we also need to know that anything is possible out there today, that we just need to maybe flip or pivot or re-look at something. Or, this one really got me too. It was, I'd rather trust and regret than doubt and regret. What are you seeing when you're talking to so many people? Because I'm sure you do. I'm sure since you're the business person, you're talking to people, I'm sure constantly, they're maybe thinking, okay, now it's time to do an app. Maybe, this is going on. I need to affect more people. I don't have them coming in right now. Or, I want to be able to reach them, where it is that something means to them, and that, that's their phone. And what are you seeing? Are you seeing a lot of that optimism because they're being proactive? What are you hearing?
You're asking what am I seeing, just the tone of people is right now?
Yes, because you have a unique place that you your focus is so unique in that it's people that would have a message that they would want to get out on their phone, and they're realizing that they could do it if they have an app.
Yeah.
And so I would think, in thinking it through, that you would be seeing a bit of a cross section that would be maybe a little bit more proactive, but they may be proactive because of pain. It may not be proactive because they're being proactive. And I'm just wondering, what are you seeing?
Yeah, you're kind of on the track. Here's what I'm seeing is, now, because of the nature of what we do, right? They're big projects. They take a half year to a year, sometimes a little less, but excuse me, it takes a while, and they're expensive. So usually it's people with $1 million, $10 million companies that are building these,
right?
And or they're spending like a lot of savings to do it, which, but anyway, so a lot of what I'm seeing is people are shaken up by seeing how quickly things can change. Like for me, one thing I saw, if I had been twice as big, which we will be next year, if I had like 50 people, I would have been really in trouble because of our infrastructure costs. So now, and I was like, we're going to be a quarter ahead on our finances in the business. Now I'm like, we need to get a year ahead. So that's one thing that kind of jarred me, made me pivot. Other business owners are having similar experiences, and what people are coming with is, oh, I need to have sources of income that I have a bit more control over, or at least additional sources of income, and now I'm ready to start this app.
That makes sense. Now, is that one of the reasons you have a podcast? You're a podcaster.
Yeah.
And you're interviewing, and I love your look of your logo and everything. Entrepreneur investor. Okay, so Logan Fields, entrepreneur investor. Tell us about that, because you're fascinating. So yeah.
So that's really the big strategy. I'm an entrepreneur. I happen to own a software company. I love investing though. And so what we do, so happens, like you said, you've heard all of these horror stories, and unfortunately that's seems to be a higher and higher percentage of our clients is people coming to us from bad experiences somewhere else, where we're having to pick up work that was half done, or they think it was half done, but it was not done. It was zero done, and we have to do it from zero. Anyway, I will invest in a lot of the apps we build. So it needs to be the right partner. But yeah, so I invest in a ton of softwares.
That makes a lot of sense, actually, because that's smart. That is so smart. So I'm listening to this and I'm thinking, oh, that's good. Because if you're willing to invest in yourself, in something that you're willing to put the money on the line, if you will, if you're willing to invest in it,
right,
then you know the quality, because you're not going to be doing anything that's going to put you in jeopardy. And that's going to make that person that's saying, okay, yeah, I've been burned a bit, but you're willing to go into partnership with me. You're willing to believe in your team that much that you're willing to go the long term with me, and you'll have to deal with me if this doesn't work out. And you're willing to say, okay, yeah, I'm good. Let's do it. That is an excellent business model. That's smart.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. I enjoy it a lot.
I can see why. So how different types of apps are you in? I mean, just like overall, without getting too specific, unless you want to, but you know.
So right now we're in 11 or 12 that I'm invested in. And so like 2 of them are real estate investing apps or related to the real estate investing world. I won't even remember all of them right off the top of my head right here. But there's some investing apps, some real estate investing apps. There is a fitness app that I'm really excited about. There is something that's in the sports space that I'm really excited about. So yeah, they're like all different. It's all over the place.
And it sounds like fun. And that's a great image too. I think that's fun. And now I understand it. I would agree. You are one of the world's best bosses, because you got a heart going on. You got a heart going on, Logan. And I enjoy showcasing service heroes that are doing something unique and wonderful when it has something to do with, the economy also. We need solid business people out there right now. We need them to show up, and we need them to feel comfortable and confident that we can do this, and that there's opportunity, and there's opportunity to do it in the right way.
Right.
It's like you said that you could go hire people in another country, but and you could get away with it. You could get away with paying them possibly not fairly. However, you refuse to do that. You do the research, you find out, then you talk with them to find out how it's going to be a win-win-win situation for all involved. That is the way things should be done, and you're proving that they can be done. You can come out being the good guy in many different ways, and serving those that you employ, serving those that are your avatar, if you will, your clients.
Yeah.
Good for you. Now, really good for you. I'm going to give you a few moments before I do that. I know you shared one book, but I'm going to ask, since you read so many of them, if there was a book right now for this day and age, for this time, for this period that we're in, that may have something to do with business, but maybe more self-development, that someone's struggling, they're trying to find their way right now. They're saying, what I'm doing right now is not working. I know that something can. I need that light to go on. I need that machine behind me, to wake me up in the middle of the night with the aha, but I need to get that book inside of me first. What book would you suggest? Or books? It can be a few even.
Sure. Well, so if it was a book just for America in general, then it would be Diet Cults. Not because of health and fitness, but because even though the book is about diets, it's about how we just buy into cult mentalities so easily.
Wow.
Oh man, Democrats are horrible, or Republicans are horrible. Democrats don't hate babies and Republicans don't hate poor people. There needs to be a little bit of a step back in a lot of areas. That's just like a overarching example.
Right. Okay.
Less bias.
So diet cults. So you're basically saying that we need to have our eyes open and be making wise choices. Like if we were going on a healthy diet, if you will, some people call it a diet or lifestyle. So it could be that whole be aware and be healthy, health and wellness with the diet of our mind.
I know it sounds a little confusing too. The book is very specifically about diets.
Okay.
But it does address mindset in an interesting way. It's about how, like, somebody who is vegan will be like some of them, many of them, and this happened, or they're keto, or they're, carnivore, or they're dairy free, or they're sugar free, or whatever. They'll be like, hey, this is the only way to live.
Okay, got it. Okay.
It kind of helps you take a step back from, hey, look, it might not be as cut and dry and as right and wrong as you think it is. And I think it can be applied to how the whole us or them dynamic is really a big problem right now.
Yeah, I'm hearing you now, and so it's to see that there may be a nugget in all of the different points of view that is, you know, a really powerful nugget, and that all the different points of view can have their nuggets, and to appreciate those nuggets of the other way of thinking.
Yes, and to be a little bit more open-minded,
Yeah.
And to not treat people who think differently than us as the enemy, or ourselves as just patently right.
Right.
Because I mean, hopefully if you're over 30, but maybe before then, but hopefully by 30, you've kind of figured out that you realize you're wrong about tons of stuff, and then you change your mind. And now we're just in a situation where there's, you know, 50 and 60 and 70-year-olds who still need to go through that in other areas, but we all do, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, especially right now. Again, that's a very relevant topic, and for June the 28th, 2020. And I love the fact that you are sharing that it is really about dieting, yet you could really find something that might inspire you in the book to help you to open your mind a bit to what, you know, maybe learn some things that could be helpful.
And now, to answer your question directly, because you were really initially talking about business people who are looking to read a book that kind of, you want those things that really help you pivot. Now, if you're looking for something that makes you do a 180-degree turn, it just doesn't exist at all. What you need is the stuff that makes you do the one degree pivots, and then do the work to where you're getting a number of those a year, and in 5 years it'll be very incredible. But anyway, Rich Dad Poor Dad is a really good place to start. It's a great, what I call, mindset book. And then 4-Hour Work Week, another really good one. Yeah, one of my absolute favorites. So, and then I love 21 Laws of Leadership, but I'd say honestly, those two books that I just mentioned are probably a really good place for business people to start.
Thank you. I'm gonna drop myself down from the line for a moment, and because you know you have a lot of wisdom in you, and I want you to leave an inspirational thought, or I mean, because you've got two different sides going on with you. You've got the whole youth minister, the ministry, you know, that way of thinking. You come from that you know, I don't want to say abstract concrete, but you know, you have two different sides to you that are very, very solid. And this period of time right now, there are a lot of people that are saying, you know, you're kind of cool. You're cool. You've been there and done that here, and now you're doing this there. I believe you might have something to share with me, a inspirational thought or a nugget, and then I'll come back and then we'll close out the show. Okay?
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Like, well, with what she just mentioned, she was saying that it seems like I have this ability for abstract and concrete. Charlie Munger, who's Warren Buffett's business partner, one of the richest men in the world. Charlie Munger is one of the richest men in the world himself, too. He talks a lot about multiple mental models. And what that means is you have the ability to hold basically more than one worldview or way of thinking about a certain topic or a certain category of topics at a time, and that you're able to kind of stand back from bias. So what that requires is being open-minded, and a lot of where you get to being more open-minded, but understanding, okay, where should the boundaries of that be, and what do I consider truth, or what do I consider appropriate philosophy for me to apply in my personal life or my business, is you intake a lot. You give yourself room to intake information and teaching from the right people and the right sources. In one of the big ways that people prevent themselves from being able to do that is they're so concerned or so proud of being busy. Oh, I'm so busy though. That's never impressive, to be so busy that you can't fit anything else in. So leave yourself enough room to be able to take those things in, and enough room for them to breathe so that you can be changing and evolving and growing. So yeah, those are my thoughts.
I love those. Those are great. And in fact, the way that you framed it was, I just love the way that you did that, because of the fact that you gave third-party validation during that, and then you also made it and so that it's like it's really doable for all of us. It's something that we can all do. We can say, okay, yeah, and anybody that knows me knows that sometimes I do put too much in my day. However, I do actually, they may not realize that I actually do schedule in between each of those appointments a little bit of extra time. And I've done that my whole entire business life because of those very things. If there was an extra phone call that needs to be made, a moment that needs to be explored, something that needs to be, a thought came, and you need to write that down. There needs to be those moments in time, and time blocking is how I learned to do it long ago. And so then, I only will put those appointments. Those are the only appointment times that I'll actually take. And then other than that, that's time that is for other things that I want to allow for. And I appreciate you talking about that, because not many people do. And yet that I can see is something that you have so much going on for you. I cannot wait to watch your evolution and growth and everything that's going on with your company and your podcasting and just everything. You're a good guy. Logan.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You are. So, and yes, you are a service hero. So as we close today, June the 28th, 2020, the Service Hero Show, 365 days of awesome. Celebrate success through service. Yes, Logan Fields, we have determined you are a service hero. Trey, you were correct in letting us know that this man, this gentleman, this entrepreneur is out there making a difference in an area that needs people to show up that are credible and doing things for the right reason. He is willing to also serve those that have had maybe a little bit of hesitation because of the fact that they have not been served, or we won't go there, that they're a little concerned. So he's found ways to be able to help them through being a service hero, and he's helped many others in doing that too, and training us all, and in looking for, and I want to have you, when we're done, if you don't mind, I'm going to have you put into the comments where we go in the App Store to find your app again, or apps that you've created so that people can take advantage of some free items to better themselves because you believe so much in it. And so I want to say publicly thank you for that, and I can't wait to go check it out myself, Logan.
Awesome.
I just want to say thank you again for joining us today on a Sunday, and such a beautiful day in June. Also, for those that are our buddies, remember it is game night in the closed group. That's Chemo Buddies for Life here on Facebook. Go to Facebook, go to the Chemo Buddies for Life page, go to the groups. If you haven't joined us yet, look for the community. You'll be asked a couple questions. You can join us. We just require that it is a safe environment for those that are feeling isolated and alone, and what takes place there stays there. It's to help those that are feeling and help them to ease that suffering of isolation. So tonight's game night. Come join us. We have a lot of fun. Thank you, Logan.
Well, thank you.
See you later. Bye, everybody. See you tomorrow on Service Heroes.